I am here with my buddy, and usually on these kinds of shows, you say, "Oh, we're friends, old friend," and it's true. There are friendships, but Mark and I go way back. I remember, and I don't remember the exact reason why, except somehow Mark and I got in touch with each other. Oh,
I know.
because of a mutual friend
I know.
through it was
Jeanette.
through Jeanette, through kind of a costume store and trick shop in the mall, and she was telling Mark about her friend, who was me, who was interested in special effects makeup and studying special effects makeup. And Mark, I think you wanted to, did you want to show your son? How did that go?
You and I both had taken the Dick Smith course
Yeah.
on makeup, and
And
she's
so for
and
those of
Jeanette.
you who don't know, Dick Smith is the liaison between makeup artists of old school Hollywood, classic Hollywood. He bridged the gap with education and technique and technology in really the 70s, 80s. The reason why special effects prosthetic makeups are where they're at is because of Dick Smith and what he was doing in a groundbreaking way, and what he shared and how generous he was. A really good man. So with that, I'll hand it back to you, Mark. So
Yeah,
yeah, we were
we
both students.
we were both students. I was working at Sunny Acres at the time, and Jeanette was working with me, and she told me about her friend John, and he was a young high school guy, and I go, I really like to meet the guy. We can talk about it. So, and I brought my son Jamie with me. We drove down, and I will never forget the first time I pulled into your driveway and I saw your entire garage door was Batman, this huge Batman, and I looked at it and I went, "Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous." And
Wow.
then, and then I, you know, we went into your house, and I remembered how awkward it must have been for your parents when you went. Here's a 18-year-old guy going, "Hey, Dad, this guy in his 40s is here. We're going to go into my bedroom, and he's got his son." And your parents are like, "What the?" But
No, they
John
knew.
John showed me his art, and he showed me his drawing art, and he showed me his sculpting art, which was you had that vampire sculpture that had, and it was I was amazed at what you could do, and I was actually at a point in my life where I really was down on what I could do, and
Hmm.
that I felt that I was too old to be creating stuff, and actually you kind of said, you know what, you're not old, you got, I think I was in my 40s, but yeah, you actually inspired me to go on to bigger and better things.
Wow, and you did. So that boy, that's a real compliment uh, that I was able to encourage. I had no idea, but that means a lot.
So if you were 18, I have no idea how old you are now.
I'm 49.
Oh my,
31 years later, we're sitting
oh
and
my
talking
gosh,
about that
oh my
story.
gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and my son Jamie's 43 now. He doesn't forget. He never
Wow.
forgot it either. Uh,
Wow. And he's a performer now, right?
he's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He's in Arizona right now, but he's lived all over the world. He just has different businesses. He's also a photographer, a very very good photographer. But he's enjoying traveling. Travels everywhere. He's done
That's
elephant.
awesome.
He's done elephant training in Indonesia. He's done race cars, and he's one of those guys. He's run with the bulls in Spain.
Wow.
He's that kind of guy who goes, I want to try that, and he goes and does
Well,
it.
and I wonder where he got that from. I mean, it's
Yeah,
so funny because he may have. I know artists who have had a very frustrated relationship with their parents or with mentors in their lives. I guess we can call them mentors, and they kind of create in a rage. But to have a father who was as supportive as you have been and is as supportive as you have been has been a real blessing to Jamie's life. I know that for sure. That's really
yeah.
cool.
I think all artists also have to realize that you not only do you look at you look at older, more experienced artists that do something well, but look back at your own children and other artists that are a lot younger that you can learn a lot from them also.
Hmm.
They've got a thing that's maybe it's not experience, but they come up with an idea or they do something you go, that's pretty amazing. And I saw that in you, John. I saw that and we've been, I mean, 31 years we've been friends, and uh, I've seen a lot of your art. You remember when you worked with me as I made you as Santa?
Yeah, I remember that. So Mark, okay, so let me I give you a proper introduction. I'm
Yeah,
keeping all of this because this is good stuff. Um, so Mark is a musician. He plays guitar. He writes music. He is in a cover band with his brother, who is a stellar drummer and singer, and as a drummer, he's also incredible with other instruments and music. Correct?
that's correct.
Um, and when did you guys start doing that?
Well, as I tell people, I met my brother when he fell out of my mother. My brother's 6 years younger than I, and he's a musical prodigy. My brother Eric Wedow. And he was playing piano proficiently when he was 6 years old and writing his own music at that
Wow.
time. And now, now I have another brother too that played bass. So the three of us had our own band. Probably Eric was. I was in high school and Eric was in eighth grade, and he was playing drums, and we actually had to get him out, break him out of junior high to come play at the high school at a dance. But I say that I've been playing music with my brother since he's probably was about 8 or 9 years old, and he's 62 now,
Wow.
61, 61. But yeah, and when I look back at my life, what a joy to have made music with my brother, one brother, and my other brother for a while also, Kurt.
That's amazing. You guys still play gigs.
Yeah, we are. We got kind of cut short
Yeah.
by the COVID thing. A lot of our jobs got canceled. But in fact, right after this meeting, and we're meeting. Our band is meeting again tonight to try to figure out how we can start going out and playing again. So as long as we
That's
can,
awesome.
we've kind of said the bass player in the band, Chuck Federowitz. Oh, I can't say his name. I've been with him since 1972,
Wow.
and he and I have we say the day that we can't carry our equipment is the day that it's time to retire, so we can still carry our equipment.
Then you won't be roadies, you'll be oldies.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, we do a lot of festivals, but all the festivals have been canceled for this summer,
Sure.
so we're just gonna go out and have fun, find some places to play.
So
So
these, by the way, these aren't like some weekend warrior band guys going out to play. These guys play for crowds, and they're
oh
really,
yeah,
really excellent entertainers. So I mean, when you're looking at Mark right now, this dude is a full-fledged musician. And then he's got this other part of his life, this that his creativity that is, um, it's visually artistic. He has realms that he goes into with that, but then he's also a performer. And so let's, which came first, Mark? I mean,
oh that
obviously performance kind of comes naturally out of being a musician, but
I,
tell me, yeah, let's hear your
well.
story.
Um, in my early 30s, I've always liked performing. I was a little kid. I did magic tricks, and hey, mom, look at this, and I'd pull a carrot, or a card out of my ear or something. But when the band thing kind of fell off when I was in my 30s, I kind of went, I'm going to take some time off because I have kids. I want to spend more time at home with them. I decided I was going to go enter some costume contests, and I at Halloween I would go out and make these costumes, and I would go and I would win. And then I took the Dick Smith course, and I learned how to do foam latex, and I made this really good costume. And this was 30 some years ago. And Sunny Acres Pumpkin Farm out in St. Charles, or excuse me, West Chicago. I went there, and they said, we kind of like that costume, so I would perform there. And then I,
What was the costume?
it was he was Malice. He was an old man in a kind of bent over, and he had a foam latex face that looked like an old cadre looking guy, but he had a puppet in a cage, and I would stick my hand in his head, and I would move the hand around, and it looked like this little monkey thing would. That was his pet, and it looked like it was alive, and people thought it was a live animal I had in there, and just puppets. Um, and after a while, I kind of went, I wonder if there's something I could do for other times of the year because Halloween would come and go. Oh, but I won every costume contest with it, so it was that good. I said, well, I'd like somebody hired me as Santa Claus one year, and I kind of went, I'm in my 30s. Santa Claus, that's kind of young for Santa. So, it was a restaurant they hired me, and they said, they gave me this really lousy costume. And I kind of, how could these kids actually believe this is Santa? So the next year I made a foam latex prosthetic Santa face with a beard and hair, and I had a really good costume made. And I had an agent who picked me up and said, I got a lot of work for you. And I've been actually working with this agent ever since. I'm Dwayne Landini. He's been my agent for 30 some years. And I've been to Santa for Field Museum, Yorktown's Santa arrival. I enjoyed that. And of all the Santas, I'm the one that's been probably doing it the longest.
Wow. And so you are, I think you said it's on Facebook, right? Chicagoland's Best Santa?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you go there on Facebook, you can actually see pictures of what Mark looks
Yeah.
like. And
Oh, by the way, my agent, about 5 years ago, my agent said, you're old enough to not have to wear a prosthetic face anymore. You can you're, so,
how old are you, Mark?
67.
67. Good
Yeah.
grief. You've got longevity in your family.
I got a lot of stuff to
So,
do still.
yeah, a lot of energy, a
I got
lot of stuff.
a lot of projects going on, a lot more projects going on right now. But yeah, that's how my entertainment business started going in. Um, and I would do other characters during the year also. Uh, but that kind of let goes all go. Santa's the only one I do now. That Santa, I don't even do the Halloween costumes or contests anymore. Just
Yeah.
Santa.
I
I'm on the
remember
yeah
you hired me then to be a Santa because you couldn't
yeah.
be in more than one place. So I would go around and do that. And and then you hired me once to be the purple dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
And I remember it was the hottest day. It was about 112 degrees outside. And I was literally in like spandex shorts, and that was it inside of this costume that had you'd built a fan into it.
Yep.
And I had a bag of ice that lasted about 5 minutes on my neck and another bag around my back. And I was just trying to stay hydrated. And the way Mark had built this, it was in two pieces. So I think it came apart at the waist. You kind of had to crawl
Oh
out the back end of this thing like it was birthing you.
yes.
And so I was trying to hide from kids so they couldn't see this horrible image of Barney with this man
Oh, it's a purple
pouring out of
dinosaur.
him
Purple dinosaur.
by the
Purple
purple
dinosaur.
dinosaur. And anyway, the other story I don't think I ever told you from that one was I had a shadow with me, meaning a shadow is somebody who's with
Yeah.
the performer so that they can see for them, they lead them and whatnot. And these guys had come along at this party and were starting to punch me in the ribs, and they weren't getting me because the costume was too big. But I was helpless, and he had a little top hat and he had a cane in his
Yeah.
hand. And I remember these guys were getting in close and they're hitting it. I'm thinking they're going to tear your costume apart. So I kind of found one here and I took the stick and I went boom into their side.
Uh, I did the same thing too. I
They left me alone after
Yeah,
that.
I had the same thing. But I had my daughter Lindsay was my shadow, and I did a lot of festivals with that,
Yeah.
and it was really weird how she really handled it well for a little 9-year-old girl. They kind of would go what, and she'd go, she'd be telling them off, can't be messing with Barney. He'll go Barney on you. He'll go purple on you.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So
Th-
so that's a facet of your creativity in your business. And then where did the photography come from?
Well, when I was in high school, I don't know, I had a camera that shot film, so I took some classes in high school. So I had an old black and white film. But then, maybe about 15 years ago, I got a digital camera, a little tiny one of the little, and I went and I took pictures and I went, these just aren't good enough. These aren't good enough for what I want. Because I'm digital's great. I mean, you don't have to get it developed. Um, and then I got a better camera, and then I got a better camera, and a better lenses, and better cameras, and better lenses. But I continued to. I loved shooting haunted houses. I love the haunted houses that our friend Dave Link
And when you
was
say
doing.
haunted houses, you're talking about like pop-up haunted
Yes,
attractions.
yes,
Yeah, for the
yes,
Halloween
yeah,
season. Yeah.
yeah. I would, and I love, but I loved them for the beauty of what they were, the makeup artists, what the fantastic work that they did on people. They would do this unbelievable makeup job on somebody, and then when it was over with, the people would wash it off. You know, it was like you just washed off this beautiful piece of artwork. So I wanted to capture a lot of that, and our common friend Dave Link and Spike Mike Skotacek, who was his partner in our haunted house, the asylum, they created. It was a beautiful haunt to
Yeah.
photograph, the lights and the sets, and I loved shooting the beauty in it. And
And it
for me,
was vast. The
oh
thing was vast, and it was there was an artistic touch in every room.
yeah, yeah, they my photography, it runs the gamut. My son Jamie, who is also a photographer, he goes, Dad, you got to pick something and just go with it, because otherwise people aren't gonna know what to follow on you. But I think I try to capture something that either beautiful or tells a story, and I think it's in the picture. I'm looking at the picture behind you of the tiger on there, and there's a
Yeah.
story there. I'm looking at that. What is it? What's the tiger doing? You want your eye you want something to pull your eye onto it. Um, you got wonderful lines going there. The color, the contrast. That's what you do. You look for that in the photography. Um, there's been people that I've been walking with, and they go, "I don't understand why you're taking a picture of that." And I'll go, "Just wait, you'll see. You'll see what I'm looking for in it." A table with people talking, and I love going to the Renaissance Fair because there's so much going on there, and I'll take a picture and I'll go home and I'll look at it and I'll go, look at the story that's going on between these eight people who are talking and doing something. Somebody's singing to a group of people and they're all looking. Um, and in the scenery that I in the landscapes that I shoot, I love to shoot where I live in Warrenville, because I want people to look at my pictures and go, that's in Warrenville, that's in the town that we live in. Why am I driving all the way to this place when I could just go sit beside the river over here?
Those
It's
are my
be,
favorite pieces of your photography, is the work that you do by the river. It's
yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
There's the one little bridge in Warrenville, but there's also in McDowell Woods, which is a little bit south of Warrenville. I love shooting in there because there is mystery in there, and the mystery is there's concrete block bridge abutments and buildings and things that were built years and years ago, that they're kind of all overgrown, like a castle that's left, and you go, why are they there? What were they for? I know what they were for, but you look at it and it kind of gives you start to go, what went across there at one time? Why is that there? Um, I love shooting them at all the seasons. So sometimes there's snow on the ground, sometimes it's foggy. I want to also show what the same spot can look like in different times of the year. So that's and it's the beauty. Uh,
Well, and part of the beauty is the dot 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 at the end of the photograph and the story, right? Because you know
yeah,
what those buildings are there for, but
yeah,
the mystery, I think, is what draws in the viewer,
yeah,
right?
yes, yeah. Oh yeah. I want you to an old abandoned bridge. I went out loud recently. I went and shot the old railroad bridge that crosses the Fox River at in Benson, Carpentersville, and it's an old train trestle that went across. I believe it was built in the maybe the 1920s. But you can still walk. You can walk across it. It's all rotted, but you got to be careful. But you take pictures of just the old wood, and you look at it. You think of all the years that a single train would go across there, and it was, where was it going? Part of the bridge has collapsed. Uh, it just, I love the stories of it, and the textures. That's why I take a lot of black and whites.
So how I mean, what kind of preparation goes into a day of shooting? Like, do you know exactly where you're going to go, or do you just kind of let it come to you, or how do you prep it?
Um, there's times where I'll say I want to shoot on a foggy morning. So you get up really early in the morning and you go wandering to where you have like kind of spotted out a place and you'll go like at McDowell Woods. I'll go, there's a place I want to stand. I'll know where I want it, the sun just coming up through the trees. I want those rays shining down through the fog. A lot of times I will just go for a walk and I'll stop and I'll go, that's it right there. Or I'll go wandering through the woods and I'll go, I want to get a shot of these trees. There's some places in McDowell Woods where in the fall, it's essentially you're walking through all these Norway maples, and they're the ones that have the brilliant yellow leaves. Some of them are on the trees, some of them are on the ground. I shoot with a real wide angle lens, and it looks like you're walking through this golden tunnel.
Hmm.
And I posted that one, and people go, "Where is this? I want to ride my bicycle through there." It's just when you think of fall, you go, "That's where I want to be. I want to
Hmm.
be there."
Hmm. What do you do with your work when you're done? I mean, I know that
Oh,
you share it. Do you sell
yeah.
prints?
No, I don't. I'm the absolute worst artist in the world. I let people see my work for free, and I don't. I guess I could sell it. I have a wonderful lady friend who right now is saying we need to sell some of this stuff. It's beautiful,
Because you've
and
got quite a body of
yeah.
work.
And last year we had a fantastic convention in Chicago called ClickCon, which I was part. I was honored to be on the board of putting it together and making it happen. It was co-sponsored with Procam Camera in Aurora, and as I walked by their booth, I looked up and I said, you have my photo up there in the middle of all of these famous international photographers. And I go, why did you pick that? She goes, because it's a really good photo. It was a picture of a young lady I took out at, her name was Jeanette, and she was down, we went down to the Hell's Gate haunted house, and there was a set there, and she had red contact lenses, and she had a snake around her neck. And she was holding the snake like she was looking out of some bars, and it just sometimes it just happens, and it did. But it was interesting to see my work really large.
It translated, obviously.
Yeah. One of my pieces is behind us here. Can you see the on the
I
wall?
just see a little bit. It looks, is that Santa or is
Yeah,
that like
that
I've
was
just got the little girl's face. I can't
yeah.
see
Oh,
above.
okay. Can I get out of the way here?
Yeah, yeah. It's well, I see it almost looks like
It's a.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that was we did a in 2016 we did a Santa show in Naperville and a one in Evanston. It was myself and another Santa partner, and that was him. That's actually on my Santa page. But I was I took all the promo pictures for it, and that was the beautiful one where he's holding this the little silver bell, and she's amazed at this little silver bell that he's holding. And my partner John he's 80 years old, and boy, he's a real beard. I
Yeah.
obviously don't have a real beard, but he's a real bearded Santa. So my photography also goes into Santa.
It's a handy skill to have. It's amazing. So, here you're a musician, you're performing, you're creating characters. And by the way, all the characters that I've seen you do, you've made the costumes.
Yes.
You've made all the puppets and the bits and pieces, and then you've got this incredible photography skill, um, and and then you kind of go past that, and you're and I don't want to say this is your thing now, because you've always had a breadth of creativity in regard to all of this stuff, but now you're creating and designing sets and scenes and really kind of a script for
Yep.
how this whole thing is going to turn out. And without me describing what it is, I'll let you
Yeah.
tell everybody what it
Okay.
is.
Um, well, I think I kind of talked about it a little bit at the beginning. 30, well, that's almost 35 years ago when I started working at Sunny Acres. The wonderful family that lived there, the Feltuses, that was their lifelong farm. It had been there in their family since the 1880s. I had worked there almost nonstop all those years as a character, not only for their just walk around, but had worked on their haunted hayride. And as the family 2 years ago decided that it was time, they were gonna they sold the farm, and the new owners picked it up, and they go, we really want to run with the haunted hayride now. We really want to do something great. So I drew up some stuff for them, and they went, wow, this could be interesting. So I gave a call to Mike Skotacek, who worked with me who I worked with at the Asylum Experiment, and I said, "This we got a chance to do something really cool here." So we've been working on that with these guys for the beginning of the year, designing sets for there, coming up with how we want the animatronics to be. It's going to be one of the coolest outside attractions in this area in DuPage County. It's in West Chicago on North Avenue. I know you've been there, didn't you?
It's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a
it's
while.
but yeah, it's going to be real cool. We're very excited about how it's going to turn out. The owners love what we're doing, and they can't wait to have this whole thing running. And for some reason they like everything's happening. You know, they've got the coronavirus has come along. Last fall was so rainy, but they still think that they feel this is going to be just fantastic.
Well, it's a good investment, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of money in those pumpkin fall farm kind of
Oh yeah.
places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, your life has been this kind of wild creative adventure alongside of a career. You have another
Oh,
career.
oh yeah. I got to make a living.
Yeah.
No one can live as an artist,
Oh,
don't you?
that's funny.
I know.
So tell
Um,
tell me about that side of things.
well, part of it came from the fact that I can draw.
Yeah.
That I can, and also I went to college in marketing and advertising. So being able to sell yourself is a big deal. I went through different. I started out in landscaping. I did some landscape design stuff, did construction, and I worked my way up to. I've been with the city of Wheaton for 20 years, running their road program, doing the civil engineering and the project engineering on resurfacing their roads, and that's my actual career. The rest of the stuff is just a hobby. And I keep
Your
the
career
roads.
supports your art habit.
Yeah, and that's yes, it does. Well, those lenses aren't cheap. Neither of these guitars that you buy a nice Gibson guitar, those aren't cheap either. But it's also I love getting up in the morning every day and doing my job.
Yeah.
I go to do my job in the city of Wheaton. I'm outside most of the time. I love dealing with the people. I love the construction work. But then I can come home and I'm kind of fresh to do my artwork. Can't wait to hit the drawing board here at the house, or can't wait for practice if the band is practicing that night.
And so you work as hard, and maybe I'm putting words into your mouth, but I think you work as hard or harder as a creative than maybe you even do at work.
Yes, yeah. Um, back when back in the Asylum Experiment days, I was creating all the videos and stuff for them, and I don't have to tell you, our friend Dave Link is a perfectionist. And so I would be working at making these videos for him, and I'd send him. It'd be like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'd be sending him, and he goes, "Oh man, can you can you do this just a little tiny bit more?" All right, Dave, hold on, just in. So yeah, then I got to be at work in like 3 hours. But what we created was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
The videos were gorgeous. I had a chance to, I, normally if you did video work, you'd never get a chance to produce your own stuff and put them on. And Dave said, you know what? I believe in what you're doing, my friend. Go through it. The videos are on YouTube. They were under the asylum. Well, actually, they're under my YouTube account, but some of them are. I
What's
always
your
find
YouTube account?
mvwedow 53. Some of the ones that I did for him were just so fun to make. The one of them that you wait for something to hit you, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, John. You go, what am I going to do here? And all of a sudden, you're out for a walk, and the idea hits you.
Yeah.
And it was the video is of Dave standing with a. We wanted to come up with an idea. Dave is standing out on North Avenue underneath a billboard, and
Oh,
he's
that's
saying,
one of my favorites.
"Oh yeah," he talks about he goes. He says, yeah, once he's talking about the haunt, he goes, and we've come up with this app that you can actually change video billboards or the billboards into what you want them to be. And he's kind of goofing around with it, and it changes this. I think it was a car dealership, but changed it to the billboard for the haunted house, and then things go wrong, and Dave just walks away.
Well, doesn't the big clown step out of it?
Oh yes,
And how that was all done in After Effects, right?
that's correct.
And so here's another thing you've got at your disposal is digital tools. Because I
Oh
know
yeah,
you work in Photoshop. I don't know if you touch
yep.
Illustrator at all, but definitely
After
After
Effects. I
Effects for
love After
video.
Effects. Love After Effects.
Yeah, amazing. All over the place. So let me ask you about your philosophy on creativity. Like you don't seem to be afraid of anything.
No, and some of my friends helped me do that. You're one, and our other excellently good artistic friend Rick Luckow. Rick, Rick,
Man, I forgot about Rick. That's been a long time.
Rick, Rick was somebody who was a mentor of mine that really helped me to not be upset about failing or to just go for it. And someone who you could sit down and you could sit down and have a conversation with somebody, and you walk away and you feel like somebody injected you uh, with new oh yeah, this is what I think I'm going to do. I would always walk out of Rick's office with this party people business and go, wow, he just gave me some great ideas. And he go, I didn't say anything. I go, yeah, but just sitting here talking with you, somebody who you go, they have a gift. They have a gift. And
I
and
think you've got that gift too. I mean, what is it? What do you think that's about? Where does that come from? Is it
um,
generosity? Is it interest? Is it what is it?
it's heredity. I understand it. I'm the more and more I'm finding out that I have relatives that were very talented entertainers. They never went on to become famous, but ever since I was a little kid, I was just really driven to learn piano, or excuse me, guitar, driven to learn trumpet, driven to learn all these things because I didn't like the fact that someone said, well, you're going to have to wait till the next step to do that. I'd go, no, you know what? I'm going to learn it all on my own. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to learn how to do that. Um, I wanted to just, I knew that I could do it all by myself, self-taught on everything.
How'd you figure that out? What's the key
Um,
to that?
it's in you. I found it's inside you. It's the way you're put together. Um,
So when you say hereditary, you mean it. Like
yeah, it
you
is.
just think it's something that
It's
some
it's
people you either have it or you don't.
it's the way you're wired. My son
Yeah.
Jamie, he's wired that way too, and my son Philip, he's a great entertainer. Worked at Great America. It's in him.
Hmm.
It's you can't teach that to somebody. You could teach them. You can give them all the tools, but they go, I don't know how to do all this. Um, I've worked with when we did our Santa show. I'm trying to teach the other Santas to do my show. They can't do it. It's the timing. It's the writing of the funny songs.
Yeah.
It's putting together the whole show. Uh, it's it's just things that I do. I'll write them all down. I'll see this. I want to go to this to this to this to this, the silly jokes. You got to mix it all up, uh, and I love it. You got to just try to keep your energy into everything that you're doing.
Do you and so this is a little bit of my stuff. I I kind of like to be creating whatever it is I'm creating, whatever it is I'm doing. But when it's live, when it's performance, when it matters in the moment, I kind of like the pressure of that. I like being a little bit on the edge of the knife. That's exciting.
Yeah, yep. And I have found out that that's when I'm at my best.
Yeah.
You find out that you're a lot of times that is when you find out that you can handle the pressure and you're not going to fail. That's one thing I've learned probably as I got older. I learned that somebody has hired you not to try to do something, but to do it. And as an engineer, that's something that's very important. That somebody that it's not we're going to try to do this. It's this is what we have to do. We have to come up with a solution and to do that. That's the same thing with entertaining. I have stories of I was at a library, the Whitfield Library one time, and my daughter Lindsay always was helping me. And we got to the show, and we started setting it up, and she goes, "Dad, we left a whole box of stuff back at the house." She goes, "What are we going to do?" And I go, "You and I know that we left a box of stuff at the house, but they don't." So we just improvised. I just did something with whatever I found laying there. And she goes, "That's right. They don't know. Nobody knows." So I didn't like panic and start calling. I just said, we're going to do the show and it's going to be fine.
I think that's the mother of invention is necessity,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to find yourself in it, even if you're a perfectionist, even if you think you're always going to have the answer or have it planned, you're going to find yourself at some point, you're painted into a corner and you got to figure it out.
Yeah. And watch the old Bozo shows. You're going to see a lot of, you're going to see those guys really were winging it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Bozo, what happened there? I don't know.
He's just trying to get through.
Yeah.
So, so how do you think somebody who wants to make a creative living, because you've done that, I know you said you don't make a living as an artist, but you've certainly done that. You charge for what you do, and it's
Oh, yeah.
not
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
your sole thing.
Yeah. The entertaining I get paid well for. Santa Claus
Yeah.
gets, I, uh, one of the things that helped me along was my agent. My agent told me what I was worth.
Yeah.
And so I stuck with what I charge as Santa, and so I have never had an issue with that. And I've had clients that have balked and said, "We're not. That's you're crazy. That's like outrageous." And I'm going, "Okay, find somebody else then." And then after I'm there for one time, they go, "We'd like to book you for next year too." So I don't have any problems with. I know what my entertainment value is.
Hmm.
Um, I still have an issue with my pictures. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know that. I really can't go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna. This is worth that much. I don't know. Um,
Maybe
I
you need
would
another agent.
I would yeah, but no. My biggest suggestion is there's YouTube videos that tell you exactly how to make money, and there's also some fantastic artists out there, photographers who will tell you exactly how. Um, Sherry Hagerman is a very very good. She's a fantastic photographer from Plainfield. I went to one of her seminars, and I just sat there and listened to her, and everything that she said about how to market was right on the money. She's a tremendously successful wedding photographer, one of the best in the state. And then I also met some of the other wedding photographers that are the best in the world. Even though I can't stand shoot, I don't want to go through the, I don't want to do weddings.
Sure.
But to see how they run their businesses and to hear the stories of what they did, there's listen to the people that are successful.
So how about somebody comes to you and they say, I love what you do. And they obviously have the hereditary thing in them.
Yeah.
It's something they can do. What would your advice be to them? Like, what's your top one, two, or three pieces of advice for somebody to be an artist?
I have great advice for this. If you let's say you go to a meeting and you sit down with a client and the client goes, "This is what I want. This is what I'm looking for." And they go, "Can you do that?" You go, "Yes, I can." And then you turn around and you walk out and you go, "How the hell am I going to do that?" And then you but the other, don't ever say you can't do something.
Yep.
Don't ever say it. And even if you have no idea how you're going to do it, I've had two jobs within the last few years that this guy goes, "I want to build this 3D ride, and I want a video, and I want this, and I want that." I'm going, "Yep, yep, yep." And he goes, "Can you have that for me in like a month and a half?" And I go, "Yes, I can." And I walked out there and I went, "I have no idea how I'm going to do this," but yet it it turned out great. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't ever doubt what I can do. Don't ever doubt what you have the ability to do,
I
because you can do
totally
it.
agree with that. That's great advice.
Yep.
Because if you wait for everything to be perfect, you're not going to get anything
Yeah.
done.
Or if you go, "I don't know how to do that." You don't have to know how to do that yet. Yet. Um, Last year I got approached by one of those escape rooms. And he goes, "We're going to make it, we want the Titanic. We want you to be on the Titanic, and we want the Titanic. We want to see the Titanic on the screen, so you're watching it. And then the idea is they have to get into the cabin and stop the Titanic and turn the wheel to avoid the iceberg." I had to make the ocean look real. I had to make the Titanic front look real, and then I had to make it figure out how, because when they turn that steering wheel, it veers away from the iceberg. So you got to figure out how to make all that look like it's not a fakey cartoon. And it was great. It turned out fantastic. I believe that it was up at the Dells. It's still up there. The Titanic, Escape the Titanic or something like that.
So were you sweating it after you said yes?
Uh, a little bit, but I kind of had an idea
Yeah.
how I was going to do it. And right now, right now out at Sunny Acres, I have a thing that they kind of said, they kind of had this idea. They kind of went, "Hey, we'd like to have this," and I'm not going to tell what it is because I would love to have people come to. But I went, "Oh, how am I going to do that?" But when I showed them what I was going to do, they went, "Wow, it's a ghost train." They go, we want the train to go right through the wagon. How are you going to make a train with ghosts on it go right through the wagon? And you're gonna have to see it if you.
That's awesome. Love it. Love it. So what's next for you, man? I know you got Sunny Acres and you got that. That's probably taking up most of your time, huh?
So yeah, I'm working on that stuff every night. I'll be working on that. We got 18 sets that we have to design. I've never designed sets before, but once again, I had never designed them yet. And when I sketched them up, somebody said, "I didn't know that you could do this," and I go, "I didn't know that I could do it either." But they said, "We wish that we would." Actually, Spike Mike said, "I wish that we would have known that you could do this at the asylum, because the poor guys are trying to build stuff and there's no plans. I'm just dining them dimension plans and views and stuff where they get." He goes, "It's so easy to build these things now because you got everything on here." Um, but what am I going to be doing next? I still love the music. I still love playing music with my brother and my friends and my wonderful fellow musicians. I don't know how much we'll be playing, but well, we'll see what Sunny Acres will be doing this year, and maybe next year. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with the photography. I haven't. I'll load the backpack on and head out some morning and shoot some more foggy scenes. Uh, I
And
know that.
then fall you'll be through fall and then it'll be time for Santa again.
Yeah, yep. And they at Sunny Acres. Sunny Acres is where I am. I'm going to be Santa. I always, even when I'm sitting there in the Santa chair talking to the kids, I'm always the kids are giving me ideas of things to do for the next year. And maybe we'll see some of that stuff. Sunny Acres will let me build a set in their one of their buildings there. So Santa has this beautiful backdrop, and I put this pictures are on my Chicagoland's Best Santa of me sitting in within the set. But I've always loved animated stuff. My dream was to work for Disney.
Hmm.
It was since the I was a little kid. I wanted to work for Disney, and now I get a chance to design the stuff and actually build the things. I want interactive toys. I want stuff that Santa can talk to, kind of like almost like a Disney, where Santa can turn and talk to something up on the shelf, and the little bear will go, "Hi, Santa, how you doing?"
Are you working on that, or is that in dream state right
No,
now?
it could be happening. It could be
Yeah,
happening this year. We're gonna find out. I had to find someone that could build the mechanics for it.
yeah.
But I had years ago. I'm going to give away the secret. You may have remember the talking big bird. Remember the talking big bird is about this high, and
Vaguely, yeah.
yeah, and he plugged into an Oscar, but he had a tape that went in the back of him. Anyway, I go, what can I do with this talking big bird? Because I would love to interact with him, but he had a tape on it. He already did his, but I reprogrammed him and so that he would talk to me. So I put my own voice on it. So I talk like Big Bird. Hi, Santa. Hi, how you doing? But then I also put the signal track on the other one, so his mouth and his eyes would open, and he would talk to Santa on Christmas Eve. Tell everybody why he was in the bag, and he would tell Santa, be careful of Mrs. Jones's bird. Her birds are don't fly too close to her lights. And I still bring that out. And when you set that down, and he's talking all by himself, the kids love it. They go, how did he make Big Bird talk by himself? But now Big Bird's 35 years old, so he's not talking very well anymore.
Mark, this has been uh, a really comfortable conversation just in regard to it's like you and I, whenever we've gotten together,
Yep.
from the first time I met you to, we've had seasons where maybe we missed each other for a few years, and then I needed some Prozaid prosthetic glue and you
Yeah.
happen to have it, and you like, here, take the bottle, dude, and off I went with it. And I've always appreciated you being there, and you've always been a delight. Like I've there are just certain people you encounter and run into, and like you said, about myself and Rick, which I really appreciate. It's like we bring energy. Well, you bring energy,
Thank you.
and that's a special way to be. And I just love that you're this cacophony of creativity, and you've become a free radical Imagineer. Like Disney just doesn't know they haven't hired you yet,
Oh,
kind of a
well, you know
thing.
what? That's well, I will tell you that in the future, I'm hoping that we can do some really cool animatronic stuff out at Sunny Acres that I get to start from the ground up, where I get to program it all, stuff that we're buying right now is already made. But
Yeah.
I really would love to build something there's some cool stuff in the future within the next couple of years there. If they do well out there, they're literally gonna go, what do you got? What else is gonna fall out of your head?
Thanks, man, for being
You're
a
welcome,
part of
John.
this. Thanks for being on here and for sharing your story, and for being a great encouragement, and most of all for being a good friend. Thanks for being a good friend all these years. And
Yeah,
I know to the 18-year-old me, it meant a lot to get the feedback from 40-year-old you, because
yeah.
you don't know what you don't know as a kid, and you were a big encouragement to
And,
me.
and right back at you because I was feeling very old and uncreative at the time. You brought me some spark back
Hmm.
into my creative stuff. I was getting down on myself, and right now I I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go for another 20 years.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot. You know what? You only got one life.
Yeah.
You only got
Yep.
one life.
Got to make the most of it. So where's the best place for people to reach you if they want to ask any questions or
They
just,
can write, they can email me
yeah.
at M as in Mark,
Yep.
V as in Victor, Wedow, Wedow, at AOL.com.
Thanks, Mark, for being on the Breakthrough Creative. Really appreciate it. You are a breakthrough creative, man.
Thank
There
you,
is
John.
no doubt,
Thank
no
you, my
doubt.
friend. Thank you, my
So
friend.
maybe we'll be able to visit you
We will.
at Sunny Acres and see what you're doing over there, or we'll catch up some other way, some other time.
I'll throw some of my sketches your way.
All
You
right.
know, I can't put them out on public because they're
Nope.
secret. They're
Yeah.
secret.
Can't wait
But
to see him, brother.
it's gonna be fun. Come out to Sunny Acres this fall.
And there you have it. That was my interview with Mark Wedow, a real renaissance man of an artist, from musician in a cover band to character actor to character creator, both in personality and physically, and a costume designer and a costume fabricator, to a haunted attraction designer, to a incredible photographer. Wow, Mark is a busy creative guy, and I thank him again so much for being on the Breakthrough Creative. And I hope that you take some of his experience and are able to use it to encourage you and to guide you in what it is that you do. I know for me, one of the things that he said that I can really resonate with is figure it out. Just say, yes, I can do it, and work out the details later. It can be frightening, it can be scary, but if it's something you do know you can do, it's a great way to grow, and it's a great way to prove to yourself that you can get some stuff done creatively and that you belong. You're going to learn a whole lot doing that. So for the Breakthrough Creative, I'm John McDavitt, where we talk about the business of art and the art of business. I hope that you get busy creating something really cool and you find a problem to solve for some client out there who is going to pay you handsomely for what it is that you do. Have a great one. Bye.